Hello, welcome to GOMEtv. That's Not Catch Up. This episode is Gollum. He's a striker that nobody likes to play. Wah wah. I really like playing Gollum. I think it's pretty fun. Everybody gets mad at you when you play Gollum, though. They expect you to do bad, which competitively I can see that happening. But in a regular pub match, it's any Guardian can do well. So just keep that in mind. For Gollum, I think is really good jungler. Obviously not as good as Frodo and Bilbo, who have an invisibility. But I guess one of the highlights for him is his coward ability to be able to get out of any controlling effect. It's got a pretty quick cooldown, and his passive allows that cooldown to be reduced by 2.4 seconds after getting hit by controlling effect. So that's pretty nice to be able to get out of situations, but at the same time, it's really not that awesome to have a Guardian that's just good at running away. It'd be a lot better if he had better sustaining abilities that allows him to stay in the fight for longer and not just have to run away when he gets low on health. So Gollum's passive. Gollum bribes his time gathering the strength and vowing vengeance. Enemy Guardian attacks and abilities targeting Gollum reduce the cooldown on his coward ability by 2.4 seconds, and this effect can occur once every 3 seconds. So you pretty much only have the potential to get that passive off once or twice. Really nothing more than that, because the coward ability has a 10.8 second cooldown, so it's already a short cooldown. You can get that much reduction if you had just ability reduction gems, so nothing too special there. The first ability that I always like to level up, it's really kind of it's a juggle between We Are Starved and his throttle ability. I like the throttle ability for the silence. Really is that's the only purpose. Usually the way I always engage enemies is I hit my throttle, jump on them, do some damage, and then hit my ultimate when I have that. He's really just burst, and then once all that damage is done, get out of there, because you're not going to be able to take a lot of damage yourself. So it's either that or We Are Starved. So usually with throttle, the only advantage you get is the increased silence time. So it's really going to be better against enchanters, but that's the other thing, is not all enchanters you're going to want to go up with against Gollum. Another reason I like it is, even if you're going up against somebody like Mozgog, you know when he's going to hit his ultimate right away, you can use your throttle, jump on him. He won't be able to use it for 3 seconds while your teammates are able to jump in there, get some of his damage down. And then I can use my starved ability to increase my resistance all the way up to 70, so his ultimate really does not do that much damage to me. That's kind of the way, kind of just feel out the situation. But I think in general, it's good to go with We Are Starved, so I'll talk about that one first. Gollum grapples and immobilizes a single enemy, rooting the victim for 3 seconds to hinder movement and causing 16 up into 64 ability damage. While in effect, Gollum regains 14 up to 56 health and has 70 basic resistance for damage. And this ability gives a small benefit. I don't really like AP Golems. I know some of you watching the video might play an AP Gollum. It's really not my thing, but if that's what you like to do, that's cool. I think he's a lot better just with some damage. I like penetration. Any kind of health is really effective on him, I think, because he does have to get up close, and he needs to be able to do some damage and then get out. Now, one of the weaknesses I do not like about Gollum is that he doesn't really have any team fighting abilities. All of his abilities are single target. The exception, I'm just kind of thinking, his ultimate. If you're in a situation where you see multiple enemies with low health, you have the potential, but it's not likely, to finish off more than one Guardian, one right after the other. So I typically do We Are Starved first. Beware though, especially if you're playing anybody with true damage. You're not going to be able to deflect the damage like you think you are and turtle up using that ability. Any Keely is just going to keep hitting you while you're rooting them, and it's actually going to do you worse. Now, the other ability I like to level up is Throttle. For the increased silence, really is the only purpose for that. What that does is Gollum leaps upon his victim, striking quickly to deal 28 up into 136 ability damage and silencing the enemy for 1 second up into 3 seconds, temporarily disabling their use of abilities. During this time, Gollum's basic attacks deal an additional 35% damage. And something that's kind of weird is when I've gone with as much attack power as I could, it really feels like that additional 35% damage. There's something kind of broken about it. There seems to be something where I don't see any difference in the amount of damage I do. I definitely notice it at a lower level, but really not so much at a higher level. Another thing is, if you ever look at the stat card for Gollum while you're in the game, look at his basic attack damage. For some reason, it will go to like 550 damage, and you know you're not doing anywhere near that. So there's some kind of glitch. I don't really know much about it, but I just do know that there's some kind of things that aren't really right with Gollum. So if you can tell me, I'd be pretty grateful. So the next ability I like to level up is obviously your ultimate when that comes up, and that's my Precious. This is really Gollum's awesome ability that makes him a decent jungler. And in a burst of violence, Gollum grabs a single target and strikes his victim 6 times, dealing 46 up into 90 ability damage with each blow and gaining 50 up into 100 attack speed for 3 seconds. If the assault kills enemy target, Gollum gains stealth for 3 seconds, becoming invisible to the enemy while not attacking, and his My Precious ability is made immediately available. And this is really an awesome ability. It's a shame Gollum is kind of a wasted character in a sense that there's always a better guardian to put in his place, but I really like the My Precious ability. It's really awesome. And then usually the last one I level up is Coward. And the reason I level that one up is because it's more of an ability that gets you out of controlling effects. It can save your life. I don't level it up because all it really gives you is increased movement speed. Now you can choose to level that up early if you like, if you really want to jungle between lanes. But I think you'll just be better off leveling up your other abilities that does more damage and probably contributes, like your rooting ability. Holding them there, doing more damage while you and your teammates are doing damage to that guardian. Now after going over the abilities, I'll go over kind of the loadout I got going on right now. It took me a while to find kind of a loadout I like. I'm going to say right now that as playing Gollum, you're going to be best matched up with somebody you know that can be pretty aggressive and control your lane, because Gollum doesn't really have a good pushing ability, or like kind of a pushing sense. He doesn't really have any abilities or health or not enough sustaining his damage to be able to really control a lane. So you need to be matched up with somebody who you feel confident in that can really help to control the lane for you. I like being with an archer myself because of the root and just the fact that an archer is very good at poking and pushing enemies' health, and I can also root, hold them in place while they can do additional damage, and they can chase, and so can I. And then we both have abilities that allow us to get out of a situation, although an archer's is much better.
An enemy has fallen.
So for my belt, I go with King's Foil Salve, and what it does is restores 30 health per level to yourself and 15 health to allies within 10 meters when you kill an enemy guardian. Now, this is primarily to go with my ultimate when it's unlocked. What's really cool is that your ultimate is refreshed after getting an enemy kill, so you can just continuously heal your enemies up if you are put in a situation, which is not likely, I will admit, but it does happen fairly often where you can kill at least 2 enemies right after each other that are at low health. So I'll usually do that, and then I'm also healing my health back up as well as my allies nearby, so it's kind of a team. It's kind of a way for me to turn a character that doesn't have a good team fight in him to really contribute more into the team by just the relic itself healing them. So that's kind of really my contribution there. Nothing too crazy. Now the second relic I like to go with is Strength of Men. Now this is kind of a high risk, high reward I really am not in a good mood when I get killed before I get the enemy kill, but what it does is your basic attack deals +5 damage. If you kill an enemy guardian before you are killed by one, then you get an additional 10% damage. So I like this one because it does give me the biggest boost in damage from a 2 slot, and it doesn't require me to have other red gems and red relics attached to me. But on the other hand, like I said, you really got to be careful. Kind of makes you be very cautious until you get that bonus, and if you don't get it, it's nothing too big to be worried about, but it definitely puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the match. And then I put that in with all percent gems because I'm a striker, got good damage, don't need regular basic attack gems. And then the last relic I have is White's Touch. For every 1 second, your next basic attack will have 45 penetration, and with the melee striker bonus, that means that you'll have 60 penetration basic attack with each hit. And it gives you a little bit of cooldown, which is nothing special. I really just like it for the fact that I have 60 penetration. Golem's not exactly an attack speed guardian who needs it, so this will make every hit that I make count, no matter who I'm hitting. So I really like that one. I think it works really well in Golem. I wouldn't put it on really many other types of guardians, but definitely White's Touch works very effectively with this kind of belt that I have going on right now.
An ally has fallen.
So for potions, you might have saw that I was running experience potions. I don't normally run experience potions. Don't really like them that much. I rather do damage potions, get the kills, and that's my way of getting experience and preventing other guardians from getting experience on the other team. But I do, in this case, run it with Gollum because I like to get the early level advantage. Because I feel like when you're just on par, the same level with other guardians, it makes it a little more difficult, and it also puts me in a better situation for my strength of men when I'm a higher level than the other guardians to get that bonus off. So that's the reason why I do that. It's good to not use it too soon. I usually wait a little bit and communicate with my lane, and then I try to get some side creeps too. That kind of helps, but you definitely don't want to sacrifice getting the soldier experience for getting side creeps. So I only do that once I clear out the creeps in my lane. Then I would go off immediately and try to get that. So you can see there, I used my ultimate, got the kill, but one of the weaknesses of Golem is he's not going to last, especially up close in front of multiple guardians. That is one of his disadvantages. There are other ways to play Golem. A lot of people like a tank Golem or a damage Golem. I've even seen great Golems do like 500 damage. That's also very good. But I kind of like going by a mixture here. I really like my loadout. I think you guys should try it out. I think the King's Foil is pretty interesting, and not many people use it. So it's kind of I'm trying to just do something a little bit different here. I'm not necessarily trying to go for the best possible belt that maximizes every single ability. Some of these are kind of situational, and I do like King's Foil. Now, as far as commands go, the ones that I always pick are heal, because you definitely need a health. I try to, especially when you're running an experience potion, you got to be very careful of where you put yourself and position yourself. You don't want to go in there weak and be forced to use your heal command. So I always keep that one, but you also got to be cautious with Golem. The second one I always use is Smite, and that's because it works very good with jumping guardians and getting an easy kill, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then usually the third one I use is a Lightning, and that's just for some group fight advantage to help my team out, since on my own I do not have any abilities really that allow me to do group damage. And then finally I have a Spiked Armor, and that's really because you saw how easily I died a moment ago when I was in a group. Spiked Armor, max resistance, could allow me potentially to keep using my ultimate over and over again, do some pretty decent amount of burst damage, and then still stay alive. And hopefully with that King's Foil healing me after kills, it'll keep refreshing my health with the full resistance, which would be very, very useful. Now, the way that I usually engage as Golem, the number one way I engage is if you can get out by surprise, always just melee attack once. It always throws them off guard. and then you use your throttle ability to silence them so they can't react with any ability, and then swipe them one more time with your basic attack, and that's usually when I use my ultimate. Now, if you have a smite, this is when it gets very easy to get that kill. You can run in there. If you can use a basic attack, do it. Otherwise, don't try to risk it. Get a smite off, throttle, make a one basic attack, and then use your ultimate. And that'll pretty much get you any kill that you need. Definitely not against any defenders, but definitely against any striker, tactician, anybody like that. So, thanks for watching. Kind of short video. Didn't get to get on everything I wanted in, but I want to thank you guys, and please subscribe. I'll have more videos of other Guardians, obviously. This won't be my last one, so thank you.